Good morning, Year 6, and welcome to today's maths lesson. Let's check yesterday's answers. Pause the screen, check yours are correct. And yesterday's twist it. Colin worked out that 2/5 of 20 is 50. Where did he go wrong with his working out? What he was supposed to do was 20 divided by 5 and then times it by 2. But instead he divided by the numerator, which is 2, so 20 divided by 2 is 10. Then he multiplied by the denominator. 10 times 5 is 50. What he should have done is divided by 5, then multiplied by 2. The actual answer should be 20. And yesterday's solve it. Would you rather sit in traffic jam for half of 5 hours or 2/3 of 3 hours? So I found a half of 5 hours was 2.5 hours and 2/3 of 3 hours was 2 hours. So I'd rather sit in 2/3 of 3 hours of traffic because it's a smaller amount of time and I don't like sitting in traffic. Then the second question was, would you rather have 3/4 of £16 or 1/10 of £100? Well, 1/4 of 16 equals £12 and 1/10 of £100 equals £10. So I'd rather have 3/4 of £16 because it is more money and I'd prefer to be richer. So today's session we're going to be still finding fractions of amounts, but we're going to be applying it to percentages. So we're going to be finding percentages as fractions of amounts. Now remember, when you're finding fractions of amount, you're dividing by the denominator, then multiplying by the numerator. So here's our hook it. Let's remind ourselves that a percentage is simply out of 100. So in this blue diagram, you've got 50 out of 100 coloured in. That's half of them coloured in. 50% is 50 out of 100, the same as a half. So if you're finding 50%, you can find a half. To find a half, you divide by 2. You could say you divide by 2 and multiply by 1, but that's exactly the same. Okay, then we've got a quarter here in the reddish colour. A quarter is 25 out of 100. 25 out of 100 is 25%. They mean the same thing. So to find a quarter of something, you can divide by 4. Then we've got 3/4 over here, or 75%, or 75 out of 100. Now 3/4, if you know 1/4, you can find 3/4. So to find 75%, divide by 4, then multiply by 3. So here's our first example. Remember, we're finding fractions of amounts, but we're applying percentages to that. So we're finding 1% of 300. 1% is 1 out of 300. Okay, so they are actually exactly the same thing. 1% is 1 out of 100. So you're finding 100th here. So to find 100th of 300, we need to do 300 divided by 100, and we can slide 2 places to find 300 divided by 100 is 3. So 1% of 300 is 3, and we've found that by using the fraction 1 out of 100, dividing by 100, multiplying by 1. If it's multiplying by 1, it is simply itself. So our second example here, we're going to find 4% of 600. Now 4% is 4 out of 100. 4% is 4 out of 100. So we need to divide by the denominator 100 and then multiply by the numerator 4. So 600 divided by 100 is 6. Slide it. It's 6. Then we need to multiply it by 4 because we want 4 of those hundredths. Okay, so 6 times 4, 6, 12, 18, 24. Our answer is 24. So when we're finding 4%, we're actually finding 4 hundredths, and we can apply the rule, divide by 100, multiply by 4. And our answer to 4% of 600 is 24. Our next example, slightly bigger percentage here, we're going to find 18% of 8,000. Now 18% is 18 out of 100. They're always going to be always going to be out of 100 because percent means per 100, out of 100. We're going to apply the same rule. We've got our amount 800 and we're going to 8,000 and we're going to divide it by 100. So 8,000 divided by 100, slide it twice. Our answer will be 80. Once we divided it by 100, we need to multiply it by the numerator, which is 18. So we need to do 80 times 18. Now, if you wanted to here, you could use your your multiplication methods. We could do 18 times by 80. Okay, we're multiplying by 10, so we can put our we're multiplying by a multiple of 10, so we can put our 0 straight in. Then we can do 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 6 is 14, which gives us our final answer of 1,440. So 18% of 8,000 is 1,440. Our next example, much larger percentage here. We're going to find 82% of 500. 82% is the same as 82 over 100. So we've got our amount. We can divide it by the denominator, multiply by the numerator. So 500 divided by 100, slide it twice, gives us 5. Then we can do 5 times 82. Again, you can jot down your multiplication method, whichever one you prefer. I'm going to use short multiplication again here. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 8 is 40, plus the 1 is 41, giving us the answer of 410. So 82% of 500 is 410. It's your turn to practice it. So you're going to find 13% of 500. Remember, 13% is 13 over 100. So you need to divide by 100, multiply by 13. 84% of 600, you're going to find 1% by dividing by 100 and then multiply by 84. To find 25%, you've got two different ways to do this. You could divide by 100, then multiply by 25, or you could remember that 25% is actually the same as a quarter, so you can find a quarter of 820. Then we've got 62%, divide by 100, multiply by 62, and to find 91%, divide by 100, multiply by 91. Pause the video and practice now. Excellent, good job. Let's reveal the answers. Check that you've got the same answers as me. Now when you're ready, you can complete your independent learning. Pause the video and complete your independent learning. Excellent, good job. So today's Twist It and Solve It. Colin said that working out 30% is the same as working out a third. Is he correct? So is 30% equivalent to a third? 30% is 30 out of 100. Can you simplify that to make a third? Is he correct or is he incorrect? Then you'll solve it. Would you rather be given 60% of 2 pizzas or 26% of 5 pizzas? This is a little bit tough because to find 60% of 2, you need to divide by 10 and multiply by 6. Okay? Or you can divide by 100. Okay? So you need to be careful with that one because it goes into decimals. If you're rather hungry, obviously you'll want the larger amount. If you're not so hungry, you'll want the smaller amount. Then question number 2, would you rather have 10% of £5 or 75% of 80 pence? This one you need to be careful because we've got pounds and we've got pence. So I'd recommend turning them both into pence for this. So turn that £5 into 500 pence before you find 10% of it. And the last one, would you rather be bitten by 15% of 120 mosquitoes or 8% of 250 mosquitoes? Obviously, you'll rather not be bitten so much, so which of those amounts are less? Pause the video and complete your twist it and solve it. Great job. Let's review it. Please upload your work onto Class Dojo. We need to see pictures of your work to be able to give you your dojos. If you are stuck on your work, you can message me on Class Dojo and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Tomorrow I will go through the answers to today's Do It, Twist It and Solve It. I will catch you tomorrow.